Hello and welcome. This is Leaving Scientology by Louis Repetto. It is 1 o'clock, and I am here to give you some Scientology news and a little bit more about who I am. In 2006, this was me. I was about 24 there, so you can see that. This is their promotion that they send out to have people come to the Church of Scientology and do services. That was me. I joined the Sea Org at age 17 to Los Angeles Scientology base on Sunset Boulevard. I was disconnected in 2013, October 3rd, and I was sent to St. Louis. That's where I live now. I am Louis Repetto, and I am reporting on Scientology news. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote letters in favor of Danny Masterson's character because Danny told them not to be friends with people who do drugs. Wow, that is a striking news. I totally can see what happened for um, as far as why Danny would be telling Ashton and Mila about his what he felt was making him help the world. And when I can remember when I was in the Sea Org and I was at these events where we would have to show them the event, the public, and then afterwards we'd go up to the public and tell them that we need their money in order to support these campaigns, we called them. And one of my favorite campaigns is the drugs campaign aimed at children and people, etc. Now, in the United Kingdom, that what just happened, as reported by Mike Rinder on his channel yesterday, that Scientology cannot prove in a court of law in the United Kingdom, they are unable to prove that they're even helping any outside, actually a public benefit is what is the exact thing. They cannot prove that they're actually a public benefit, which makes me wonder, all this time when we were supporting these non-secular, supposedly non-secular groups and putting so much money into this, getting people off drugs and helping these children, and we had all these DVDs, and I was so proud of it, and I would go up to public parishioners and do this thing to sell them, to get them to pay money to us to help these types of programs. So what I would do, and this is what I was trained to do in a group when I was in the Sea Org to get money from people, is you ask them, you go through each of the campaigns that Scientology is telling people that we have this supposed public benefit for the public, and so I go through each of these campaigns, and the one that that person is really interested in, or that indicates to their ruin, that's their ruin. And that's part of this is in when you're selling someone the Scientology, you have to find out how their ruin relates to the thing you're selling to them. So I would use this. And the one that I really related to was the drugs one. I had never had any problems with drugs, but my brother, he had some issues with it. And then his son, my nephew, he had a bunch of situations. And so that's what I knew about from my father. These situations were occurring in a WOG world, and I knew about them from my father, who was telling me about it. I didn't even get a chance to talk to my brother or to my nephew. So back to the thing. So I would use. So this was like part of like I felt how I loved being in Scientology because I was helping these groups to be a public benefit to the world in this way, and so that made me feel good. So I would find people who were also interested in the drugs one because I knew all about it. I read all of the articles on it that Scientology put out, their pamphlets, their videos. I went on the internet secretly to um, help people do courses in the subject. It's okay, Dobby. That's my dog. Well, that's our dog. My best friend Crystal and girlfriend's dog, Corgi. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's down there barking at the latch on the smart lock. Back to the story. I used to get people to um, do pay for Scientology. They would pay for Scientology in these areas that I had a lot of reality on. I had this reality on. That was part of my ruin was these situations in my family that I felt like I could do nothing about them and stuff. And so then I was hooked into this Scientology idea that we can handle them with Scientology, but call it not Scientology in these groups. Now, back to Danny Masterson. He, from what I understand, based on some information that I got from growing up in Scientology, and he was talking to another guy about what situations you can have, and he is potentially an alcoholic. And in Scientology language, an alcoholic is still big time a ruin. And so I bet he was giving. So I bet someone like me, whoever his registrar was telling him and feeding him these lines about how he's helping the world by helping get children aware of drugs, which they are all common sense things that, of course, anyone would not want children on drugs, especially illegal drugs, unless their doctor prescribed it. Um, so Dan, I have a good I have a good understanding that when I was in these events as a Sea Org member in the early 2000s, that I would use that same thing. I would tell them, and I'm sure they were telling other people that this is why they were helping. And I would tell them to tell other people that this is why you are helping. This is the thing you can say that means you helped. And I felt so good. You helped. I was helping. And turns out it's just all just it's not right. It's I feel like there's more that could be talked about this, and yes. So moving on to the next thing, though. Danny Master was sentenced yesterday to life in prison. With okay, that is totally wrong. Growing up in Scientology, the YouTube channel details every word by Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis attesting to Danny's character. I think that's important. Aaron's videos are very informative. He um he is just good at asking questions and getting the details for things, and he just says he'll read these letters, and I that is seems like very ballsy to me to to read these letters, and so yeah, that gave me some courage to talk about this as well. Yes, that is something else. Okay, hide that. I am Louis Repetto. This is Leaving Scientology. I hope you have subscribed and just hit the notifications, select all, and it will help with notifications. I'll try to keep you more abreast of Scientology news and notify everyone when I'm going to do it. Okay, now, are Scientologists just ghost hunters being persecuted for their beliefs? That is a good question. I thought of this earlier and I'm not really sure about the answer, but a few weeks ago, I had this really weird realization that ghost hunters, uh, I had this realization that when on the OT levels, when people are getting auditing, and they're auditing themselves and they're telepathically beaming the body thetan clusters off their own soul, are they ghost hunting? Does that mean that now it's like Scientologists are just a bunch of ghost hunters? And I don't mean to actually persecute their beliefs, really, because I believed in Scientology. And when I was born into it in 1982, I was raised in it and I joined the Billionaire Contract Sea Org when I was 17. And then I worked in it and I got as much training as I possibly could outside of all of the confidential parts that have to do with these body thetans that I did not even find out about later until much later when I left the Sea organization and I wanted to seal my own fate to not be able to go back to Scientology. So in 2013, I got disconnected from the Church of Scientology. Then I was doing the steps to come back because I wanted to still be a Scientologist and go back to Scientology and be reconnected with my parents and to do Scientology and go up the bridge. Then 2 years, then 4 years, months. This is happening within months. They're calling me to get me to pay money. I just left the Sea Org. It's 2013. I don't even know. I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to figure out how to talk to people in the regular world. And then they're calling me, Lon Kloffler and friends, calling me to get me to make credit cards, just apply for a credit card so that I can buy the Scientology materials because they said, you're going to need this on your steps to get back into the Church of Scientology. This is 3 or 4 months right after I get out, and I don't even have a job yet. I had one job and then I was like, that's too far away to bike because I thought I could bicycle to these jobs. It was like 7 miles. I thought I could bicycle there every day and back. I was just trying to get a job. Anyways, that didn't really work out because of the freeways here and stuff. It's interesting, St. Louis. But I ended up getting a job later. So within that 3 or 4 months, they are calling me, trying to get me to pay money for stuff, for the books and lectures, and that's $2,200. And I was just like on my last $50. And I just politely told them, like, no, I can't do that. I don't even have credit and I don't even know where to start. So they were like, okay, well, I'll make sure the Continental Justice Chief is in communication with you so that you can do your steps A to E so you can get back here. All right, goodbye. And then that's Lon Kloffler and company. What's his name? Richard Valle, Continental Justice Chief. So they called me and stuff for my money, my negative money. And then so what was I on? The Ghost Hunters. I did step A, which is you have to stop doing Scientology crimes, and you write it down and you send a letter in. That's the first step. Then I did part of step B1. I wrote this letter to Scientology and to all my family and friends that said how I'm a suppressive person. I am an evil and harsh, the worst person that was doing all of these harmful things to people in Scientology. So that's the step. You write down that you're a suppressive person, and you have to get that approved through International Justice Chief. So then I had to mail it to Continental Justice Chief, and then I had to wait a month. Then he sent it back, and they said it was approved. So boom, I got the letter done the first time, the first shot. And that's pretty amazing in itself because, yeah, so I thought yes, I'm getting through my steps 8E. Then I get a call from the Continental Justice Chief, and he says, you do not, you did not, you got your letter approved. You just need to go and get it notarized. And we have some information about your bill. I said, oh, okay. How much is it? I'm expecting it to be like $350,000 or something like that. I was pretty scared about it because I had done an enormous amount of courses there. With and I was not on full-time training. I was doing this part-time. I was staying up at night and stuff like that. So I did like an immense amount of courses, probably like 200 courses. And there was at least $350,000 worth. And I signed on every single course. I promise I will, in the event of I break my billionaire contract, I'll pay for this course. I never thought I was going to break my billionaire contract either. So I was doing these courses, signing this contract, every single course. Then he comes back at me and he says, your debt is $49,000. $49,000. So at first I thought, oh, that's easy. I got this. I can get that done. $49,000. And I didn't have a job yet. This is how my brain worked. I was just, no matter what the barrier was, I was going to overcome it and get through those A to E steps, because that's what I told my parents when I was leaving there. I told my parents, like, don't worry, I'm going to get through my A to E steps. It'll just take me a few years and stuff like that. I told them that was in my last 15 minutes with them. The last 15 minutes that I talked to them before I got sent away. So, in there was a $49,000 thing. I don't know what happened to me. Over the next 2 weeks, I met a couple of neighbors, and they were just very understanding. They didn't talk to me as a Scientologist. They didn't know. I didn't tell anyone I ever was a Scientologist, except for Steve, the guy I was living with. Then I went to 4 months. Okay, this money thing. I'm not sure what happened to me there, but the I don't know what it is. The love they got from the neighbors made me it changed something. Anyways, I also felt like and they didn't really know me. They were just wogs. I thought they were just wogs at the time. And then so they were like very nice to me and friendly. They didn't talk about Scientology. They were very like they believed in God, and they were just friendly, really friendly. And it was awesome. I made these friends. Then I made some more friends, like the neighbors across the street. They took me out into the world, and they said, this is what it's like. They took me to a bar, and I'd never really been in any bars before, and so it was just so wild and stuff. Anyways, back to the thing. Then I the money, I just realized that I did not want to pay them that money, that $49,000. And maybe if someday I won the lottery or something, I would consider it. And this was at that time, what I was thinking at that time. This is 2013. But no, um, I decided to seal my fate by reading the OT materials on the internet. And once you do that, you can never get onto the OT levels. And that was the main reason why I wanted to go back to Scientology, because I wanted to go up to the next OT levels. That was the only stuff that I hadn't done yet in Scientology. And I wanted to go OT. I wanted to go up these OT levels. Anyways, so then, no, they were, I read them, and they're basically just talking about body thetans, like these souls, not souls, but thetans that are like stuck to you, and you know, it's stuck to you in clusters, and you have to telepathically release them and make them basically your god, and you're creating life by telepathically looking at yourself. You are God, and you are creating new lives. So, Thetan means God. Scientologists don't realize that. Um, in the very beginning, that's the very first word you figure out what it is. And Thetan means God. And so they're like telepathically on these OT levels, and I didn't know any of this. So I was like, but that sealed my fate in my own mind that I could never go back to Scientology. And um and then I could just not worry about it. I don't need to go and do the A to E, and I was thought, oh well, my parents, they'll just stop to metabolizing on the e-meter until later, like 2000. I thought like 2040 or something, when they were bodies stopped working. They couldn't do Scientology anymore, so Scientology would let them, go off and do whatever they wanted, because they couldn't metabolize on the meter because of their bodies were like too old. And then um, they would be able to be back in connection with me. I'd be able to talk to them again. That's all. So are Scientologists ghost hunters being persecuted for their beliefs? No, they're being not persecuted, first of all, for that. I would say um, they're not ghost hunting, that's for sure. Because in the real world versus the made up world of, or not made up, but agreed upon world between Scientologists, is that so they agree that this world is that we are stuck on this prison planet all together. And, the only thing we have in common is that we're all gods. You know, these bodies mean nothing. They don't mean like any connection at all. There's no such thing as family like with the bodies. Those are just bodies, and that's the WOG world. So I'm gonna be ending soon, likely going to the comments now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, Dobby was on patrol. We appreciate that. Crystal Wheeler, they did that on purpose to get you while you're down. They know it's hard for those excommunicated in the WOG world. It is purposeful to come after you for money when they know that you have none. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, they know it's hard for those excommunicated in the WOG world. Okay. It is purposeful to come after you for money when they know you have none. Yes. They would always cite um, Richard Valle Lon Kloffler would always cite um, another suppressive person, Scientologist they sent out to St. Louis who got excommunicated in like 2000. He was from my org, actually. He got excommunicated and he got sent to St. Louis, and he was able to make enough money and pay back his debt that he broke his billionaire contract over. And then I bet you he would be great on here. I would love to talk to him. And I hope that he reaches out to me and emails me in my YouTube channel email, Ferkel Merkel. I think you can find it inside my YouTube channel if you are out there. It is purposeful to come after you for money when they know that you have none. Yeah. When Scientology called months after you were SP'd. SP'd? I like it. Yes. When Scientology called months, yeah. They called me 4 months after, 3 months. I can't remember the exact month, sorry. 2013, and they called me trying to get me to get credit cards. And they were probably under pressure, and from my it in from my viewpoint as a Sea Org member at that time was that they were just under pressure to get more sales, and that's why they were calling. But I've had different views told to me by WOGs about this, and one is that they were just trying to make it even harder. It's purposeful to come after you for money when they know that you have none. Yeah. I don't know. I can see that, yes, now when you say it like that. But there was another person that said they were probably just laughing in the background. They were just laughing at you. They were doing it because, and I thought, no, that couldn't be true at that time when the person told me it. And now I think about it, they probably were laughing about how I got sent out into the WOG world with no one and I to help me in any way. Um, like they said they would. And Jennifer wrote a like recommendation from the Church of Scientology to me. It was like one paragraph. I wonder if I can find it. I should read it. That'd be cool. All right. Okay. I don't think it was just for sales. They are wanting you at your lowest point to get you back. Okay. I see. Huh. Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be ending off soon. That is me, Louis Repetto. Thank you for watching. And if you're watching on 2x speed, I recommend that. I liked watching myself on 2x speed, which is in the settings in the little gear usually in the settings. Okay, goodbye.